My name is Amadou. Well, I received the Best Community Radios Award from the GPU in 2019. I think I felt great. Unfortunately, I wasn't in presence to receive the award myself in person during the awards night. The reason being I felt sick during the course of that period, and someone, received the award on my behalf. But I remembered when the call came in, I was in a hospital bed. And that feeling, that moment, I think was the cure to my illness. I was so elated, and I felt a feeling of accomplishment to having won the Best Community Radios Award, and the impact it had both in me and the people that I serve, the communities, was so huge. Well, it can be difficult, it can be fun, it can be so much, different kind of feeling. In a sense that a journalist, journalism is noble. Noble in the sense you are thinking about what you're going to do to have an impact to the people that you serve, especially the field that I was in. Representing the communities, being the voice of the voiceless within the communities and rural Gambia. It's something that I am so passionate about. It is something that I am very concerned that I'm able to be the voice of those voiceless, and I am able to hold authorities and leaders accountable, and be the mediator between the politicians or leaders and the people in the communities, and be able to do my work. So it's a kind of a whole different kind of feeling, in the sense it also takes so much from your social life, it takes so much from your personal life if you are so passionate and committed to the job. I report on different rounds, but the one that actually won me the award is the education forum that I used to do in Buyam Community Radio. This is a platform where I feature, academia, young people, bring them on board, go reach out to them, and even students who are so much, intelligent, but do not have the privilege to continue their education, kind of serve as a motivator or inspire them to come forward, and along the line they're able to get scholarships or sponsorships. So that kind of impact and accomplishment is so huge, and that actually won me the award. In fact, as we speak right now, one of the students that I have been following, is that it's still a developing story, has been shortlisted in the Chevening Award to study in the UK, to study his master's, which is another big milestone for me, because I started featuring this particular student who is from a very poor family background since his primary 6. Imagine that, following one particular student, bringing out the story of this student who is very intelligent but comes from a poor family background, and cannot do so much on his own, that he needs help, he needs support. So I'm able to do that, feature him in my education forum program up to his junior secondary school. He's one of the students who got aggregate 6 in the whole of West Coast region, and even followed him to his senior secondary school at Newsrad before he was able to win a scholarship of 4 years to study computer science and engineering, and he wants to become a pilot, one of the first Gambian pilots. That was amazing, and right now he's also one of those shortlisted to win the Chevening Award in the UK. Very special, very special. 15 years and on, I am still doing it as of now, because this is where I come from, and community radio stations serve a big purpose in terms of improving lives and livelihoods of rural Gambia, rural communities. These are people who do not have so much privileges as that of the urban. These are people who may have language barriers, so it's important that we're able to communicate the language that they understand. That is the local dialects. That is why most of the programs that I do are mostly in the local dialect, because these are the language that they understand. So it's so passionate. I developed this passion since childhood. I talk to myself. I can act a role of 3 people: a journalist, a source, and a reporter at the same time, and a news anchor, a reporter, and a source at the same time. So I adopted this passion since childhood in the communities, and until now I am able to do so much in the communities, and so much, the narrative have changed at community level, because they are able to understand every single thing, especially on the current affairs or current issues that are happening in the country. So it's important that information is decentralized, that what the urban people are able to get or understand, the communities are also able to have that same privilege. It's important because, like I said, decentralization in terms of access to everything, access to information, most importantly, it's good. We are serving that purpose, like I said earlier on, to be in the communities, to get the views and opinions of people in the communities, because that matters. And when people have, when people are informed, when people are well informed, especially at rural communities, they're able to have informed decisions or make informed decisions. They have choices to make, choices that would depend on the accurate information that they receive. So it's important to do the work that we are doing at community level, because they are also part of society. They are part of the nation, and they have a right to access to accurate, effective, and quality information, which is actually what we are doing. Do's and don'ts of journalism. There's so much on the plate, as a journalist when you're doing your work. But one of the few most important things is, as a journalist, first, your credibility is very important. That applies to every work that you're doing. So it's important that a journalist is credible, is reliable, because you are serving the people, and people usually listen to you and believe whatever you say. So it's important that your credibility is intact, your integrity is intact, and what you preach and teach is actually what you practice as a journalist. The don'ts, avoid misinformation, which is causing so much havoc, especially in communities, especially now with the invention of the social media, the internet. We are faced with series of challenges as journalists. How do we counter fake news? How do we counter, this misinformation and disinformation? Now that it's in fact a law, I think it's important that people, especially journalists, avoid, being found at default, because these are, like I said, this is what would make you a good journalist or a bad journalist. If people believe you, if you have influence on the people, it matters so much that whatever work that you are doing it with integrity, you're doing it with credibility, you're doing it with professionalism, and not actually doing haphazardly just to satisfy one particular party or satisfy one particular group of people or individuals. If you're telling me how easy or difficult it is for me to access what I have to do to become a good journalist, my answer to that would be journalists have been faced with challenges previously, and with the coming up of the Information Bill Act, we hope that things would change. We look at the Communications Act. There were so much draconian laws that were put in place that restricted journalists at some point accessing information. And like I said, in order for a journalist to be able to do his or her work effectively, without misinforming, without exaggeration, without illusions, or without assumptions, he needs to get to the basic of these facts. And how do you get these facts? Is ensuring that you have access to information. That has been a challenge at some point. Up till now, we're still facing some of these things, especially where I come from, representing the rural communities. At some points, if you want to get these informations from the public services, for example, it becomes a bit difficult, because one way or the other, someone doesn't want to tell you the actual thing that's going on. But again, the beauty about it is it's your responsibility as a journalist to have your different ways of ensuring that you're able to get the information or the tool that you need, but without jeopardizing your credibility or your integrity as well. So it can be difficult, but it's something that journalists deal with every day in their line of duty. The advice to the aspiring journalists, like I said, journalism is a noble profession. I would advise that you first develop the passion for it, because like I said, be it journalism or any other career or profession, if you don't have passion for it, it's a no-go area. For me, that is personally what I believe, that anything that I want to do, I would first think about my conscience. Do I even want to do this? So have passion for it, and if you have passion for it, the rest comes your way. But also it's important for people to, now read and learn. There are, fortunately, we have now journalism schools where people can study journalism and communications. We have those privileges, we have those opportunities now. Before it was a bit difficult. That is why we used to have so many journalists who actually started the business inside the studios. But now we have schools now, not even one. So I would advise that the young people go to these schools, let them get the forms, apply, and get their admissions and go and read. You can do both the theory and practical, and with it comes a whole package. Like I said, serving people touching lives. It's just beyond, beauty. I just love, doing that, and it's something that I really appreciate so much. So I would advise that they also have their credibilities intact and ensure that they read and learn journalism and do what they do best, that is serving people and touching lives and impacting lives of people. It is very real. Come on, it's a global pandemic and touching every facets of life, both inside the Gambia and the entire globe. Of recent, we've had Donald Trump has even been tested positive, which is he's one of the most powerful men in the world, and testing positive. Who else would COVID-19 leave? The important thing is for us to, adhere to the WHO guidelines and believe in the virus, that actually it does exist.